Good morning. This is Emily Landry here for another installment of the WP Cares podcast. I'm here with Jason Skaggs, Executive Vice President and Chief Executive Officer of Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Emily. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you too. So I have had the honor of getting to work with your team before, so I know a little bit about what Cattle Raisers does, but for those who haven't worked with you, would you tell us about the organization?
You bet. Good to be here. And the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association was founded in 1877 in Graham, Texas. This was back in the days of cattle drives and really a real key part, a development part of our state. And there were 40 ranchers that got together in Graham and decided that they needed to create an association to deal with the threat of the day at that time, which was cattle rustling. And so they founded the association, and here we are in 2023, still going and still going strong. Obviously, the law enforcement component of the association is still front and center and really makes us, I think, unique as you look across the country. We've expanded into a lot of other areas. Back in the day, the railroads came along, and with railroads, taxes came along. And a lot of folks didn't like that, obviously. So people went to Washington D.C. to be an advocate against some of the railroad issues. And so then that led into a lot of our advocacy work that we do in the government relations arena. We started having conventions where people could get together and network and learn about things in the industry. We started in the 1970s, we started a health insurance company because ranchers at that time were having a hard time getting health insurance. And so we started a member-based health insurance company, and we've gotten involved in a lot of other things. So it's been great, long history of the association and who's been involved with it since 1877. It's really a lot of the who's who of a lot of the founders and kind of patriarchs of Texas. So it's been fun to be a part of.
That's incredible. I didn't realize it was that old of an organization.
Yeah.
What a nice history. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your role at the organization?
Sure. So as the executive vice president and CEO, I'm the chief, staff person there for the association. We're very proud to be a volunteer-led association. So our board is comprised of over 135 people that are from all across Texas and the Southwest, and they're all volunteer leaders, and they make decisions that for the association. The staff, however, we report directly to the board. My job is to oversee the staff, but really, as I like to tell our staff, we definitely have an organizational chart, and we have a chain of command, but we really work side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to implement what our volunteer leaders like for us to do, and the direction of the association.
That's great. So how did you know you wanted to get involved with Cattle Raisers Association?
So I'd been involved on the edge or kind of on the fringe with the association for quite some time early in my career. Got out of college and kind of went into the political world, working in Washington, D.C. and in Austin in congressional and sort of legislative roles. And all that time, I really knew that what the association meant, who they were comprised of, what they stood for, a lot of the issues that I thought were always so important to Texas, but also other states that we have members in. And I always thought, well, that'd be a really fun place to work if I ever had the opportunity. And then, but really got to know the people and a lot of the volunteer leaders along the way. And in 2007, I had an opportunity to come work for the association in Austin as the executive director of government and public affairs. and did that for about 11 years or so, and then had an opportunity to move to Fort Worth to be the CEO. And so all those years, 15 years now or so, have had that opportunity to see the association from a staff perspective at different levels and different angles, and it's been really, really fun, challenging. Every day is different, and but very important what we do and the role we play as an association.
I love that. So why don't you tell me more about the services the organization provides to the community? I know you actually have multiple kind of arms in different organizations. So if you want to elaborate on those, that would be awesome.
So first and foremost, we have a little over 26,000 members across mostly Texas, but into Oklahoma, New Mexico, and other states. Our law enforcement area, which I mentioned earlier, is really a very key focal point for what we do. And we have 30 special rangers that are commissioned through the Texas Department of Public Safety and also the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation. So those special rangers are located in Texas and Oklahoma, and then several of them about 8 or 9 of them are dual commissioned in both states. That is very much still front and center of why we exist and what we do and the services that we provide in those arenas. It is important to know that the special rangers serve the citizens of those states. They don't just work for members of our association. They're first and foremost peace officers that investigate agricultural crimes in those states, and it's but they work for the public. They are paid for, however, solely by our member dues, so that we don't take any federal or state dollars, no grant money. We're solely those individuals, those 30 individuals are solely paid for by our member dues. So it's a very key I think area that we serve, and we allocate a lot of resources to that and a lot of time, obviously. We also are very involved in on a day-to-day basis in the government relations arena. We spend a lot of time working on federal and state legislative and regulatory issues. We have a staff in Austin, an office and a staff there based in Austin, but they operate all over the place, where we really keep close tabs on things that are going on that would affect not only the ability to raise cattle, but also to own land. So we like to tell people all the time we are the Cattle Raisers Association, but we deal with a whole lot of other things other than just cattle. Sure. So and a lot of issues, particularly in that government relations arena. So we also provide a lot of educational opportunities for our members. We have an annual convention every year where we have our School for Successful Ranching. For if you've been ranching, your whole life, or you just started, ranching or owning land, you can come to the School for Successful Ranching program that we have at our convention. But that is also goes throughout the year. So that's just really the in-person part of that. But we offer a lot of other opportunities to get together online through our Ranching 101 program, which is a monthly program that you can tune into to learn more about topics. But we have a lot of programs that we do across the state, in-person programs that we do across the state to educate our members on the issues of the day. Maybe it's some government relations issue. Maybe it's some new animal care practice that we need to tell people about or educate people on. Maybe it's some new type of native grasses that we need to talk about or educate people on. All the whole spectrum. So we spend a lot of time on educational issues, networking, providing a lot of networking opportunities for our members. And those are, I think, probably the high points of a lot of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, at least.
That's great. I actually had the opportunity to go to the convention this year, and it was nice to see all of the different vendors who are there kind of discussing how their products can help serve the community and walk in on a couple of those lessons and see what y'all are up to. Do you have a date for next year's convention?
We do. It's going to be at the end of March. I'll have to get you the exact dates.
End of March sounds good.
But yeah, it's we're set. We're scheduled out here in Fort Worth for the next several years. People love coming to Fort Worth. It's where we're based, obviously, but people love coming here with all the history. So there's a lot of connections with our industry and Fort Worth, obviously, but people come from all over the country, not only to attend the convention, but we've got a big expo or trade show that we'll have 300 exhibitors there, like you said, and it's a lot of fun for people to get together, see new products, and but yeah, we'll have registration for that usually up in first part of January. So we'll be getting that kicked off. We do a summer meeting as well and a fall meeting every year, a policy conference in the fall where we get together. So we just wrapped up our summer meeting out in West Texas in Marfa earlier this month, and we'll be heading to College Station, Texas in September to do our policy conference there this year.
Wonderful. Just in time for football season in
Yeah,
College Station. Yeah. Are you seeing any trends around the livestock industry?
We're seeing a lot of trends, some that are positive and some that might be more concerning to people. I think first and foremost, the thing that we see a lot in Texas, at least, is the fragmentation of land. Just the urban development, suburban development of land that really is affecting a lot of what we do. Now, that's not all bad. That's good for our economy and good for a lot of individual, landowners and so forth. But it is challenging in that there are new pressures that we deal with every day, and so that's whether it's a road coming in or a water line coming through your property or maybe an oil and gas line development. We've got issues relating to electric lines, just getting those resources, that are so important to this growing state. They've got to come from somewhere. And so that's concerning, obviously, the pressure on our water resources. And we've got issues. And I say issues, there are also opportunities for landowners in a lot of the renewable energy space. So you've got solar projects going in all over the state now. You have obviously a lot of wind development. You've got an issue recently that we dealt with in the legislative session was carbon storage, carbon injection wells under your land. A lot of the oil and gas companies have found that as an opportunity. So a lot of pressures on owning land, managing those natural resources that are so important to what we do, and really, we view ourselves as the caretakers of those resources that have been for a lot of generations. So I think that's a trend that will continue. Texas is a very popular place to be for a variety of reasons, and we all love that. But those are challenges. I think we also are seeing a lot more of absentee landownership across the state. So the person who might live in Fort Worth, let's say, but then owns a ranch out 100 miles or 200 miles away or whatever, then they go back to their home in the city, and they don't they may not be on the property or that ranch. Or that out in rural Texas as frequently as they might be as if they lived there day in and day out. So that presents some challenges, but it also presents a lot of opportunities. And then lastly, I would say I think the trends of just those more and more people are getting further and further away from agriculture, and it's just a generational thing. And I think generally in our society. And so we spend a lot of time educating people on consumers primarily, on where their food comes from. We have a great marketing arm that it's another association or another organization that we and a lot of other groups help to support, the Texas Beef Council. You may have heard of Beef, It's What's for Dinner. It's our marketing, education, and research arm. It's not directly affiliated with TSCRA, but we beef producers all across the state and the nation help to sort of self-fund that effort to help educate consumers on the positive health benefits of beef, but also the sustainability and just educating people more about where their food comes from, particularly beef in our case.
Yeah, for sure. So you've shared so many really wonderful things, but if I wanted to get more involved with what you're doing, how could I do that?
Best thing to do would be to call us. Come to one of our events. I think the convention obviously is a fun place to do that, but we have a lot of opportunities across the state to come. We do what we call ranch gatherings all across the state, usually really throughout the year, but particularly in the summer and fall. And we've got a list of those on our website, tscra.org. And so there's a lot of in-person things. We're big on getting together. I tell people a lot that TSCRA is like a big family. And when we have our convention, that's the big annual family reunion, so to speak. But we have a lot of little mini reunions, if you will, across the state through these ranch gatherings and these programs that we put on. And they're really great opportunities for people to come, meet your neighbors. People come from different counties. We do probably about 25 to 30 events across the state, in addition to those 3 main events I mentioned. So we try to bring TSCRA to your backyard or as close as we can get to it. And they're fun. They're free. You come eat a nice barbecue or steak dinner and learn a little bit about what's going on, and learn how you can get involved. We have policy committees that we really put a lot of emphasis on. We have 4 main policy committees. So if you've got some interest in a particular area, natural resources and wildlife, or cattle health and well-being, or property rights and tax issues, or marketing and transportation issues, you can get on and become a member of our association and get on one of those committees. Is usually a really great way to start to get involved. But we offer a lot of other opportunities to get involved too. If the policy arena is kind of not your thing, we offer a lot of other things through our membership opportunities and some other things. So a lot of opportunities to plug in. But the old saying, the world belongs to those who show up, and so that's the first thing I always tell people: you need to show up and start coming to these things and meeting people, getting to know folks, and then seeing really where your interests are, kind of honing in on what how you want to be involved and where you might want to offer your time or really volunteer your time to help benefit the good of the association and the kind of ranching landowner space.
That's wonderful. Well, as you know, Whitley Penn's primarily based in Texas and kind of in the Southwest like you. So we're just so grateful for what you're doing to help our landowners and really protecting dinner. I hate to say it that way, but that's it. I'm really grateful for the opportunities you gave us to figure out a little bit more about you. Do you want to share any of your social media information with us?
Everything can be picked up really off our website. We've got all our social media channels right there on our webpage, tscra.org. We're pretty much everywhere on social media and do a pretty good job. We also have a daily email. If you become a member, you can subscribe to a daily email that we have that keep you up to date on the a lot of the specifics on a day-to-day basis, and then a lot of other communication that we'll send out on hot topics and urgent things that folks may need to know about or be involved with.
Thank you so much again for joining us today, Jason. We're so thankful to our audience for joining us today. You can find this and our other podcasts on any location podcasts can be found.